ESPN presents the High Roller Tournament.
From the Showboat Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, ESPN presents the High Roller Championship Round Finals. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, along with one of the great pressure bowlers of all time, Earl Anthony. And Earl, welcome to ESPN. This is the 9th year the High Roller Tournament has been on ESPN. Over $2 million in prize money up for grabs this week. $200,000 on top. You'd have a hard time getting it off your hand, wouldn't you, for $200,000?
Well, I tell you, Denny, in that situation, your heart's pumping. You can't even get spit in your mouth. You can't think. You go on autopilot. Your knees are shaking. And you just try to survive. Really, what it amounts to is how well you've trained yourself. Just let your body take over.
You mentioned survive, and that's exactly what our top 4 finalists have done, Earl. They've won 9 matches. That's right. It's single elimination. If you lose, you're out. That's a very tough format.
Well, the pressure builds. We keep talking pressure, but that's the key here. That's what makes this tournament so great. You come down to one game, maybe one ball for the difference of $100,000. One ball.
All right, we look forward to your commentary, and now it's time for us to meet our top 4 finalists. Hailing from Wabash, Indiana, meet 30-year-old Dick Brickley. Our second competitor will be 29-year-old Jim Clevenger from Brighton, Colorado. Our third finalist does his bowling in Royal Oak, Michigan. Say hello to 41-year-old Ed Phillips. And rounding out the finals field, securing the 4th and final spot, meet John Pirtle from Waipahu, Hawaii. And we'll be back with the start of our first semifinal match from the Showboat after these minutes. To the Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center. Denny Schreiner along with Earl Anthony, ready for the start of our first semifinal here. And this year's July High Roller, Earl, $200,000 in first place prize money up for grabs.
It should be a great match, this opening match. 2 players that play pretty much the same way. One guy likes to roll it a little bit between that second, third arrow. The other one throws a little bit of a spinner, leading off the spinner. For this kind of money, these guys want everything just right. And I think more than maybe the pins being off spot might just be nerves.
Buying a little extra time, trying to relax, get the heart rate down just a little bit. Opening offering by Clevenger. Pretty nice shot. Takes the 5 out. Opens with an X.
Well, all 4 of these players obviously can handle their emotions pretty well. They would not have gotten this far in this very, very difficult format. You know, we talked about that earlier. You have to win 9 matches just to get this far. Sudden death. If you lose a match, you're out of here.
First time ever that John Pirtle from Waipahu, Hawaii, has bowled in a high roller, Earl, and he's made it all the way to the final 4. Two, 4, 5 on the right-hand lane. Championship round pair, lanes 51 and 52.
Spares have been difficult, and really the scores have been low, and it's very important to fill frames because spares are so important to winning these matches. Strikes haven't been winning matches. Spares have, and this particular spare here, the 2-4-5, has been one of the toughest spares of all. Moves to the left, going down the left side at it. Great shot.
It's fun, Earl, to watch a match where spares are involved. It seems the contemporary game is based strictly on strings of strikes, and it's great to see the fact that you have to come out and make spares to win matches.
I agree, Denny, and that's what bowling should be all about. It's making good shots and maybe get a double or a 3 in a row and make it work for you. Spare shooting should be the key to a good player, and should be the key to winning a big match like this.
Very basic, simple game. Pirtle hits the pocket and leaves the 10-pin on the left-hand lane. I know that you like his game, Earl, because I just mentioned he could hit the pocket with virtually any shot, no matter what kind of pressure he's under.
I like his game because, it's like you mentioned, Danny, it's very basic. He's very balanced at the foul line. He's a good spare shooter. He's going cross lane at the 10-pin here. He'll try to flatten this out, not let it hook. So just kind of hard and straight. Hang on. Good cover. Both these players, excuse me, Danny, both these players are the type of players that keep the ball in play, and that's the reason they've gotten this far. We start with a field of 1,471 players, and we're down to 4 guys, and these 4 guys are the ones that made things happen when they had to, under pressure. And right now, there's some heart rates that are way above normal. Respirations are up there. Sweaty hands.
Do you think, Earl, more difficult to win the semifinal and just get to the title match, or would it be tougher to bowl for the big check?
I think right now is the toughest match. If you win this match, you know you've got a chance at 200,000 and a lock on 100. That's not bad.
Not a bad week's work here at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas.
Maybe go down to the tables, put it out there and double it, huh? Would you want to do that?
Oh, no. I'm a little too conservative for that. I know you would, though. You'd go for the gills, wouldn't you?
No, I don't think so.
These 4 players really have responded beautifully to all the pressure of making it to the Final Four.
Well, you look down, like right now, off camera, I'm watching our Hawaii bowler, John Pirtle, down there. He's taking deep breaths. He's trying to get relaxed, and some of the guys don't watch their opponent. There's a look at John, and now he's checking the rack. You see him looking at the pins. He's not watching Clevenger. He's looking at the rack, make sure they're on spot. And this is a beautiful facility. Very seldom will you see the pins off spot. It's well run. Jack Cook, he's the general manager, does a wonderful job. His staff. Here we got the baby split. Pretty simple spare for one of these players like this. They've gotten this far. Here's another look at his style. You see the spin, the rotation side to side, high on the head pin, leaves the 3 and the 10. Tried to fit the ball between the 2 pins. The ball should hit both pins. Slid by.
First open of the semifinal game, so
good lane condition here. We have basically what you might call a synthetic surface, new pins, and the players are bowling on flat lane condition, which means they're oiled basically channel to channel fairly evenly, and there is an out of bounds. In other words, there's a buildup out toward, say, from the second arrow out to the channel. You get the ball outside the second arrow, it wants to skid.
Pirtle leads by 12, trying to take advantage of the miscue. And you mentioned a couple of different times, Earl, when you saw John in a pressure situation to take advantage, he really responded.
He does, and what he seems to do is stand up a little taller at the foul line, get the ball out on the lane a little farther in the air, and actually lift up a little harder on the back of the ball, get more forward roll and a heavier roll. It just seems to fit his game, his style of play, to release like that, and he gets a great result.
Pirtle looking for the first double here in our semifinal and to grab a 22-pin lead.
There's that more speed I'm talking about, standing up, throwing it harder, and it kicks the 4.
We'll be back with more of our semifinal right after these messages. All right, first semifinal match, John Pirtle really bowling brilliantly with 4 strikes from the 3rd all the way through the 6th, and he now leads by 34 pins over Jim Clevenger as we head into the 7th frame.
Where's he from again? Denny, I want to hear you say that again. You pronounce that so well.
Waipahu?
Waipahu, I like that. You do that well.
Waipahu, Hawaii.
Waipahu, Hawaii.
You were over there all the time, aren't you, Earl? Do you go to Hawaii?
Well, I've gone to Hawaii a few times.
A few times.
I like Hawaii. It's a nice
You
place.
and Ted Hoffman, right?
All right, here we go. Big shot right here. Yeah, Ted Hoffman. Ted's a great guy.
4, 5 in a row. Hey, boy, Earl, that one came off his
You know,
hand,
that happens
funny.
so often. You know, you and I both have been around television bowling for a lot of years, Denny, and it seems like so many times we have a pin in the channel. They're going to have to get out before we can shoot this spare. But it seems like so many times coming out of a commercial break, that just that little bit of extra time sitting there, the player gets up and he's a little anxious, throws a little harder, and
or in some cases a little softer.
a little softer, gets a big split one way or the other.
It's difficult to maintain the same ball speed, isn't it, Earl?
It is, and here we go. This is the 210. The idea is to hit the 2 pin on the left side, slide it into the 10. Checking the score, and the reason he's checking the score, he's looking up the scoring unit, is because he wants to know if 9 would be better. Should he gamble on this or not? He's gambling, and he missed them both. So the pin count could make a difference. That puts him behind in the pin count, but still ahead in the match.
Pirtle again assessing the electronic score, but this match has gone down to an 18-pin lead for John Pirtle, and that's really kind of an unforced error, Earl, when you step up on a 4-bagger and leave the 210.
Yeah, you're right, and that's a good way to put it, an unforced error. There's no defense in the sport of bowling. You get up there and you handle it mentally. It's a mental game. It's a game of rhythm and concentration.
And let's see how he comes back from the errant shot. Wide right. Oh, 2-pin fell down at the very last moment.
That's when you get that head pin going to the wall and get the good pin action. Remember Billy Whaley used to say, hit them thin and watch them spin, and that's exactly what John did. All right, here's a chance for Clevenger to get back in the match, and he has to do it now. Here he is in the 8th frame, and it's time to get it moving. He needs some strikes.
Deep inside angle. Ball rolls up nicely. Dices up the rack on lane 52.
Tell you what, that ball hit extremely hard. That's impressive. He's not back now. He looks very relaxed and calm for this situation. And right now, my heart would be pounding. I know my hands would be dripping sweat. And
No, not the
yes.
doomsday stroking machine.
The doomsday stroking machine would need to dial 911 about right now.
You'd be leaking worse than the Valdez.
That's right. All right, big shot here. 9th frame. Needs this one really bad.
Possible 225 for Clevenger if he can take it off the sheet. And what a great shot. Might have been his best shot of the week.
Look how relaxed he is. Very calm. No deep breaths there. You don't see him taking that deep breath and puffing out the cheeks or anything like that.
Possible 242 perhaps for John Pirtle if he can take it off the sheet.
Got to have this one. It's desperate. He got it.
Well, did he trust it, Earl, or did he just throw it a little too far to the right?
Well, I think he just, what he normally does, I talked about earlier, what he does when he needs it, and I've been watching these players for 2 days now, when he needs to make a good shot, he generally stands up a little taller at the foul line, straightens out that sliding leg, the left knee a little bit, so he can loft it a little farther and throws it a little harder with a lot more back, forward roll on the ball, lifts right up the back of the ball. Keeps it on line longer. He just overpowers the lane condition when he needs it to make a good shot. And see if he can do it. This is the one to lock up the match. There's the danger. You throw it a little too hard, and you got a tough spare.
245 looking at him on lane 51.
Now, see, this turns it all the way around. If he were to miss this, Clevenger would need 1 strike to win the match. If he picks it up, Clevenger can strike out to win the match. So there's nothing now that Pirtle can do to stop Clevenger if Clevenger can perform under pressure. Clevenger looking at the floor, he doesn't even want to watch this shot.
Hard and straight, nice conversion for John Pirtle.
And I was looking at Clevenger sitting on the bench waiting for his turn. There he is. He never looked up. He just sat there and listened for the crowd, for their reaction.
Earl, throughout your career, how did you handle that situation?
I always like to watch my opponent. I felt like I learned by his ball reaction. Maybe it might help my ball reaction. Besides, then if he got lucky, I'd cuss him out.
Just get motivated.
All right, here's where we're at. 218 for Pirtle. Clevenger needs 2 hits, 2 strikes to win this match. Remember, the difference here is substantial. The loser of this match will bowl in our consolation round for $50,000 or $25,000. The winner has a chance to win that $200,000.
So I guess you could say it would be a $150,000 swing.
Right here, you're exactly right. It could be that much for these 2 shots right here for Clevenger. Let's see how he handles it. Didn't waste any time. It's a good shot.
Oh, needed to trip out the 4, and it didn't happen. So the Pirtle connection continues to roll right along into the title match.
And a mixed reaction from our crowd, a sizable crowd here at the Showboat. Some of them looking very depressed and sad, others very happy. For our Hawaiian entry, John Pirtle will advance.
Well, it's amazing, Earl, not only the players themselves that stay for this event, but to the fans that have watched all week long. You're right. It's almost like a horse race. They draw their favorites, and they try and root them on home. And in the end, though, there's a great camaraderie of the players that are involved in this event. And regardless of who wins, I think everybody's pretty happy for the champion when it's all said and done.
Yeah, there might be a couple of fist fights, but nothing major.
Excellent opening match. Some terrific bowling. Pirtle advances 218 to 204 over Jim Clevenger in our first semifinal from the Showboat Hotel and Casino. Showboat Hotel, Casino, and Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada for the start of our second semifinal match featuring Dick Bubba Brickley and also Ed Phillips. And that's Mr. Brickley right there, Earl, 6'5", 260.
You say Bubba, you say Mr. Bubba.
Tell the fans the interesting story about how old Bubba got to the Final 4.
Bubba was in the final 8, and it came to the 10th frame, and he needed a spare at least to get to this point. He threw the ball down the lane, got 3 off on the right, the 6, 9, 10 only, had to make the spare and then get good count, which he did. So it was exciting. And I think Bubba lost 20 pounds in the 10th frame of that match.
All he could do was laugh when he was explaining it to me. He said it was rough out there as he throws a Brooklyn shot and strikes on lane 51.
Well, to me, in all fairness to Bubba, in the middle of that shot when he got ready to get started there, they started over the loudspeaker and they made some announcements. They not realizing that the match was still going on. So Bubba had not only to overcome his opponent and the lane condition, but he had to overcome the public address system.
the elder statesman in the final four, 41-year-old Ed Phillips, and you're going to look at opposite ends of the spectrum. Big Bubba likes to get inside and hook the ball, and Ed's just going to let the lane do the work.
Ed's a finesse player. He just likes to control it, just get enough roll to get 10 pins down. He'll be playing between the second and third arrow, just kind of rolling the ball. Got that one inside of his target, and it went high left. He got a break there. He's happy with that result, leaving only the 6-10. Ed's a good spare shooter, so we'll see him going cross lane at this. Generally, the guys that don't hook it very much, of course, are good spare shooters and are pretty accurate players. And you get a guy like Bubba. Bubba likes to throw a lot of strikes.
If he does, he's a handful. If not, he might be vulnerable.
Gotta look out. That's nerves. That's all that is. It's opening jitters.
In order to win 9 matches, though, to get to this point, you've had to have come back in a few of those. Let's see how he responds here.
If there's ever a good point to make a mistake, it's in the first 2 frames. You can always recover from that to a degree. You can't recover in the 8th, 9th, and 10th. A little better speed there, but he just kind of turned that one over with his hand a little more than normal. At the foul line, at the release point, got the elbow out to the right a little bit, kind of helped the ball back up to the pocket. It's almost like he expected that ball not to hook, so he tried to make it hook. Still opening jitters, I think, for Ed, leaving only the 3-pin. Fairly easy spare here. At this point, nothing's easy, is it?
Yeah, it almost looks, Earl, as if he's guiding the shot just a little bit.
Yeah, that's his style of play, but I think you've noticed something there, Denny. He probably is more than he normally would.
Walks left, throws right. Almost a 2-4-5, ends up with the 2-5, and this won't be easy.
This won't be easy, and you know, we've talked about it already several times. The key to winning these matches all week long has been filling frames. Make your spares. Don't worry about strikes. Just try to get the ball in the pocket area, make those spares. Best way to play this is down the left side with a lot of ball speed, hard and straight, right at it. Just like that. Slid it right by it. I think Bubba had better throw a few strikes, because if he doesn't get something going early, he's going to have his hands full with Ed Phillips.
Light hit.
Tell you what,
dances by the 5.
You won't see that very often.
No.
Did you see that? I tell you what, folks. Here's a guy that just rips the holes out of the ball, gets as much revolution on the ball as he can, hit it half pocket and left a solid 5.
Ball was rolling away from the pocket when it hit. Ed Phillips electing to just
He's
concentrate on his own game.
He's taking a little nap right now. He's nice and relaxed, right? You believe that, you believe anything, right?
Bubba Brickley with a long stare at that 5-pin. Right down the track, hits the pocket, and a soft 10.
He just kind of helped that one a little bit, and Ed is really not comfortable yet, and he's getting a little better. That one, he just kind of fanned it a little bit. Didn't get a lot on it. See where he's standing? This is really unique. He's standing in front of the ball return to shoot his 10-pin. Getting as far left as he can. And there's a deep breath, and he's having trouble breathing right now.
I think if you could sell oxygen down there right now, Earl, you'd have a lot of customers.
Yeah, I think you're right. And they're bowling on national television, maybe for the first time.
Let's hope it's not the last. Inside again, runs high, another fortunate break. So he's played with the head pin on a number of occasions, Earl, and come out unscathed.
Well, so far, not an easy spare here. The 6-10 cross lane. Remember, he whizzed it last time. Now, this is the time he's got to make this spare. If he can just continue to fill frames until he gets a little more relaxed.
A little better acceleration there. No problem with the spare. Don't forget, if you win 2 matches in this event, you end up with $1,400. Win 11 matches, that'll be good for $200,000. 30 players earn $20,000 or more in this year's High Roller event. And, of course, they've given away over $2 million in prize money. Back with more of our second semifinal after this commercial break. Up.
Look out. Look out.
Well, that was right of the mark from the get-go, and Phillips misses the head pin to the right.
Well, he got in that out-of-bounds area we've been talking about. See, he's playing that area of the lane that is very critical. If you make a small mistake setting it down early, it wants to hook early and go left, high on the head pin. If he gets it a little too far to the right, the ball won't grip the lane because they're the out-of-bounds. What I mean by out-of-bounds is there's more oil to the right of his target than there is to the left. Gets it to the right of his target, the ball will skid. Tough spare. He has to cross over. Get it on the left side of the head pin.
It's almost interesting, Earl. The spare shots have been a lot more aggressive than the strike attempts.
He seems more relaxed. He's a good spare shooter, and he's more confident, I think, at that point. And, you know, the line he's playing, Denny, I just explained the angle he's playing around that 13, 14, 12, 13, 14 board is really tough. It's a tough shot. Any kind of a mistake and the ball overreacts. Whereas Bubba, he's playing inside, where all the guys that hooked the ball have been playing all week, deep inside, around that 4th arrow, 5th arrow, just trying to rev it up. If he can keep his elbow to the left this time, he might get this first double of the match.
Dick Brickley looking to take a 17-point advantage, or 17-pin advantage, I should say, and he leads the 4-pin. Pretty good shot there, Earl.
Only the 4-pin.
Tell you what's great about this event, Earl, is as we look at the scores right now, neither player going to shoot 200, but it's all relative. Doesn't make any difference as long as you beat your opponent.
Another thing that's great about this format, Denny, is the fact that after each round of matches, they eliminate half the field, and then they draw again. In other words, you're not in brackets. They draw, and you don't know who you're going to bowl or what pair of lanes. You draw for the lanes, you draw for opponents. So you could bowl Joe Blow that just bowled 140 in one, or you might bowl Bubba here that just bowled 240 in one. You don't know who you're going to play against. And here's a guy right here that is right now saying, I got to find a way to get a double. Somehow I have to get a double to win this match. He feels that's all it might take.
Yeah, open frame and 7 spares in a row for Ed Phillips. Brickley with a possible 205. Be more than enough to win. And, oh, that may be the worst break that we have seen the entire event as he ends up with a 5-7.
Oh, you get it.
Just bad break. Here's another look at that shot. Bubba made a pretty good shot here. You see, kept the elbow pretty good. Inside, he got the ball just a little more ball speed, not quite back to the head pin. The head pin does all the damage. Comes back out, kicks all the pins that could have helped him. The 5-pin should have went, he thought. Slide the 5 into the 7. Great shot. What a shot.
That livens up the crowd. Brickley in the 9th frame with some superb split shooting.
What a great shot. Look at this. This is probably the shot of the tournament for Big Bubba right there. He picked up the 5-7, and he right there, that 260 pounds was airborne for about 4 lanes.
For Ed Phillips, Earl, time is of the essence. Needs a strike desperately here in the foundation frame if he's going to have any chance to win.
Well, what a turnaround emotionally right there for Bubba Brickley. Right now, his heart's got to be going 100 miles an hour. Pick up that 5-7, put the pressure right back on Mr. Phillips in the 9th frame.
Been waiting all game for a strike. Wait's going to continue. 2-4-5, and he loses pin count as well.
He has to get aggressive. He hasn't been aggressive the whole match. And you mentioned, I think, was really important, Denny. The only time he's been aggressive is on his spare shooting. His strike ball, he's tried to fit every shot. And he needs just to increase the speed, throw the ball hard, and get out there and get him.
Down by 8 pins at the 2-4-5. Chops it off, and that might be all she wrote for Ed Phillips here in our second semifinal.
But anything can happen. It's not over yet, folks. It's 144 in the 9th for Ed Phillips. Possible 174. You never know. Brickley going at a 183 pace and open in the 10th. Striking out by Ed Phillips. And open in the 10th by Big Bubba. And, you know, for $200,000 possibility, anything can happen. Here we go. 10th frame. Needs 3 strikes.
Little less time, more aggressive shot. And
I'd say that'll do it, Denny.
Yeah, that's the final nail. Ed turns around, looks at us, obviously very disappointed. You could see he went after that shot a little more. Earl gave it a little more fingers, tried to be aggressive. And maybe one of the reasons why he didn't throw those types of shots throughout the match.
Well, I hope he didn't hear me when I said that, because I don't want to try to help the guy. Here we go. This match is over. Big Bubba is going to advance.
Yep. To take on John Pirtle. And so Bubba Brickley and John Pirtle will bowl for the High Roller Championship and $200,000 in first place prize money. We'll be back with more from the Showboat. The semifinals have already been decided here in this year's High Roller, and a couple of interesting matches, really pretty much different in terms of the scoring for the first two matches. John Pirtle ends up the winner of the first semifinal, threw a four-bagger in there and really got off to a pretty good start.
He did, and you know, it's amazing. That was a really high-scoring match based on what we've had all week here at the High Roller. When you get those kinds of scores, you think he might be the favorite in the championship.
Of course, he went on to win against Jim Clevenger, 218 to 204. Then it was into a completely different type of match in the other semifinal as Phillips and Brickley really struggled to throw any strikes at all.
It was who could make the fewest mistakes, and it really came down to Big Bubba made the fewest.
And it's all relative. It doesn't make a difference what you shoot as long as you advance. And, of course, Pirtle and Brickley now will head to the title match. But, Earl, you know what's interesting? All the other tournaments and events and sweepers and things that happen around the High Roller throughout the week, I think most people don't realize there's all sorts of action to be played. And I know you've got some numbers, some impressive numbers for the players.
Well, I've got them right here, Denny, as you mentioned, and it is impressive. The scores that were shot were tremendous, based, competitively. The High Roller tournament itself didn't have those kinds of scores. But here's a guy, for example, Chris Barnes, who was former collegiate player of the year. He won $61,900 and couldn't get past the second round in the High Roller. So that shows you how the competition is here, how difficult it is to win those, but still there's a tremendous amount of money available.
That's right, and there are a number of different types of things that you can do even if you don't cash in the High Roller. As you mentioned, Chris didn't even make it through the High Roller very far and ends up taking home $60,000 plus. Let's move on now, talk about our title match. Bubba Brickley, a big, strong strapper who's going to play inside. And then Mr. Pirtle, who is exactly the opposite, a track player, pretty steady. What do you think?
Well, if you want me to make a prediction, I don't want to do that.
Okay,
but I don't. I really don't.
Assess both players.
But I would say, based on what's happened so far in the pair lanes, you have to figure the young man from Hawaii is the favorite. Mr. Pirtle is the guy is keeping it in play, and he has a heavy rolling ball where Big Bubba likes to get inside. He'll be deep inside of the lane, throwing it hard and really turning it up. But he can also get in trouble. There is an out of bounds, and if he gets a little bit too wide, it's goodbye.
Two players left here at the Showboat in the High Roller. One of them will walk away with a check worth $200,000. John Pirtle to start the championship game on the left-hand lane. Little self-talk on the way to the line, swings it to the right and absolutely waves past the head pin.
And it's kind of surprising, Denny. We watched him bowl his opening match, and he was really tough in that match. He had a four-bagger, he had a double, he had 6 strikes, and other people are having trouble getting 1 or 2 strikes in a game. He was basically a dominant player in that match. Now he switched bowling balls. I don't understand that. He's throwing a ball, it doesn't hook much. He's trying to play farther out to the right on the lane, and that's a tough place to be because the ball doesn't want to react very well.
Great spare to open
Great spare.
the title match.
I don't know if this is a good time to gamble. You got a ball you bowled 218 with, but he knows his game a lot better than I do, so I'm not trying to criticize, but gee, it's hard to make that kind of a change when you're bowling for a difference of $100,000. One game.
Dick Bubba Brickley with his opening shot. There's some good shots in practice. 2-5.
That was a good shot there. Bubba was happy with that. It's one of his better shots he's made so far in the competition today. That one he was balanced at the foul line pretty well. He got it out in front of him pretty well. Here's a good look at it. You can see he's not too bad there. And there the ball is right on line, never grips the lane. And that's why you saw that look of consternation on Bubba's face. He didn't realize, he thought he made a good shot. Now he's got a very difficult spare here, the 2-5. Want to hit both pins with the ball. Got a hook.
Hey, come on back.
If I'm not mistaken, he missed that in the semifinal game, Earl, so.
Absolutely. Exactly the same spare, same way.
Got to be a bit disconsolate after starting that way in the title match, but you made a good point, Earl, during one of the other semifinals as his dad looks on. If you're going to open in a match like this, first frame is the best one to choose.
Bubba's going to need some strikes in this match. There's no question that he's going to have to bowl much better than he did in his semifinal match when he bowled a roaring 180, which was plenty to beat Ed Phillips in that match. But the guy he's bowling now seems to respond to the pressure very well.
Out the window on the left-hand lane, 1-2-4 left standing. And that shot was never close.
That's the out-of-bounds area we're talking about. And Bubba here, he's got to be careful. This ball could run the other way. If he sets it down a little bit, it'll hook away from the head pin.
Good speed. Nice conversion.
Well done there.
Well, hopefully he's over the jitters.
I don't think he's going to get over him. I don't think anybody's going to get over the jitters in this match. This is the big one. 200 to the winner, $100,000 for second place, and we're looking to see if we get a re-rack here. This one was turned down, which is the tournament director's discretion. If he feels the pins are on spot or within the American Bowling Congress rules, you play it. And they look pretty good from here, Denny.
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 of them. That's the important part, right?
Pirtle's going to try and make him disappear.
Well, he's gone back to the ball he used in the first match now. That's kind of interesting. Oh, got a break.
Major break there, right through the nose, and ends up with a 6-pin. Do you think Early might be using one ball on one lane, one on the other?
Well, I don't know. I think he's fishing a little bit. What he's done now, and it's obvious that ball hooks a lot more than the one he started the match with. So he has a ball that hooks a lot. He has a ball that doesn't hook at all. And he's trying to find something, watch out, something in between. Whoa, my.
Oh, the knees are a little shaky right now. That young lady with the gold cap on is sponsoring Mr. Pirtle this week, so she has a vested interest.
And Mr. Pirtle just said never a doubt, folks, never a doubt. Had it all the way. That's why they paint those pins. All right, here we go. He's staying with the same ball he just used on lane 52, lane 51. That's the ball. That's the ball right there.
Key shot, got a nice reaction. Pirtle flexing for the crowd, having some fun, and he's done that all week long.
I don't think he wants to flex for Bubba, though. Bubba's Bubba's a little out of his range, I think.
Pick him up and launch him.
Two tremendous contrasting styles here bowling for this, the High Roller Championship match.
Shot of the week for Brickley, who needed something positive to happen early on.
He does, and he needs to throw a few strikes. Denny, that's a great observation. If Bubba's going to win this match, he's got to do it early. He can't let Pirtle get loose, get comfortable, and start stroking the ball. And it looks like John has found the ball he wants to use now, so Bubba's going to have to put some pressure on him.
Missed the head pin completely on this lane the last trip. He needs a double desperately.
The idea here is to get it up to the head pin. Any part of it you might strike. You don't have to be pretty. Just knock him down. Even the crossover.
Trying to create some area. Gave it plenty of room. And the worst break of the week. 8-10 on lane 51.
Even Bubba can't believe that now. Bubba's up there trying to make a great shot. He thought he did. He extended through this ball. You can see the ball. It's going down the lane. Never grips the lane. Look at the ball. It never really turns into the pocket. Just never, ever creates friction. And that's the 8-10. Just a tremendously bad break on a good shot, really. Considering the circumstances, a real good shot.
Tough break for Bubba Brickley. Pirtle in the driver's seat. 48 women competed in this year's event. Entries were also received from every state in the Union and 10 foreign countries, including Taiwan, Venezuela, and Australia. Back with more of our title match from the Showboat.
Call your cable company to order the Brazilian National Soccer Championship, exclusively on pay-per-view.
22-pin lead now for John Pirtle, who steps up in the fourth frame. He's on a strike, Earl. A double here would put Brickley in desperate straits.
Well, remember last time he threw the ball through the middle of the head pin on this lane. This is when he's got to make an adjustment. He feels he has the right bowling ball in his hands now. He's going to move a little farther left with his feet, try to pick the speed up a little bit, get the ball out in the lane in the air a little more so it doesn't hook early. See what happens. Good loft.
Aggressive shot. 2-5 is what's left. So he goes from high to swinging it just a hair too far to the right.
Yeah, and that was the kind of release there where what he was trying to do is keep the ball from hooking. Whenever you see the player's hand go up and out to the right like that, he's trying not to let it hook too much on the back. So he's trying to really keep it on line, which he did. It just never finished in the pocket area. Spares are so key at this point.
Little body English to take care of the 2 and the 5.
No one has used more energy throughout this championship than John Pirtle. He's in there. He's involved with every shot, and there's a reaction of some sort from him, one way or the other, with his body every time he releases the bowling ball. He's got to be physically tired, but he's so pumped mentally for this championship, he doesn't feel a thing.
Stretches out, head pin again. Oh, a little vaudeville move with the knees, and he gets rid of the 5 and the 7, Earl. So he's using his entire repertoire here to get the job done.
And there's a lot, you're right, Denny, and here's another look at that shot, and there's a lot going on mentally right now. Watch the pin action, and remember, sitting on the bench, Big Bubba is looking at this too, and he's thinking to himself, geez, on that lane just a minute ago, I made a good shot and got the 8-10 in the pocket. This guy gets the wall shot. He gets the, you know, you got to have a little luck to carry the wall shot, and Bubba's thinking, boy, why can't I get a break like that? So sometimes the mental aspects of the game are more important than the physical.
Time to bring it back to the present, though, for Mr. Brickley in the 5th. Got to start somewhere. Another excellent shot. I would say right now, Earl, critical for him to throw a strike on the left-hand lane.
Well, there again, the 8-10 in the 4th frame on lane 51 was the turning point for him so far in the match. He had a strike in the 3rd, the 8-10 in the 4th, strike in the 5th. If he gets the strike, it's a 3-bagger. It's still anybody's. Actually, he would have the lead at this point. And he's got to be thinking of that now. He threw the 8-10 on this lane. He thought he made a pretty good shot. What do? You roll it better,
just a
slow
fraction
it down,
less speed, yeah.
See what happens. If he does that, it might hit the middle of the head pin. Bubba's, look at the concentration.
Got a handful. Oh my, this lane has to be about as tight as you could possibly get in there. 5-pin never even thought about wiggling.
You hear that sound, that clank, when the ball never ever gripped the lane. And you know, there could be a lot of reasons for that. It looked like Bubba rolled that one well. It could be the carry down. The oil could be moving around a little bit, and if that happens, it carries down the lane. It's hard to get the ball to grip, and the surface of the ball is using might be such that it overreacts to that lane, that oil on the lane. A lot of ifs, ands, or buts. We don't know the answer, but we can speculate a little bit. We know Bubba's in trouble.
Right, does not come up with a double either time, but threw a couple of real good shots on the left-hand lane.
Could very easily be a 4-bagger for him, and a possible 20-pin lead at this point.
Speaking of 20-pin leads, 22 pins right now for John Pirtle with a strike up in the 5th as he starts here in the 6th frame.
And a chance really to put the match basically out of reach at this point and really put some pressure on Bubba. That's something we haven't seen him do. Swing the ball there before he starts like that. Looks like he's trying to loosen up the swing, loosen up the arm.
Oh, down on both knees. That was the key shot of the match for Pirtle. Couldn't have thrown it any better.
No question, Denny. It was a great shot. Now he goes to the lane that has been the toughest for both players. Here's a replay of that last shot, right around the 17 board, and you see how the ball was rolling very well end over end. That's what carried the 10-pin, kicked the 10-pin out. This is the shot right here. If he can get by lane 51, if he should strike here, he's really in good shape, because then it comes down to Bubba with all the pressure on him. And he only has to bowl, John Pirtle only has to bowl in this lane once more in the match.
Great shot by Pirtle, who has seized control. Doesn't get any better than that. And don't forget, this is just one of 6 high roller events that'll be scheduled here at the Showboat. They have the Super Bowl Classic, the Senior Eastern Classic, July High Roller, the first prize there, $200,000 as I mentioned. Columbus Day doubles team will split $250,000 along with the Seniors Thanksgiving Classic. A host of high roller events here at the Showboat, and a guy who's high rolling it right now is John Pirtle. We'll be back with the Vice President of Consumer Products for Brunswick, Brian Collins, on hand, along with Diane and Jack Cook. Jack, of course, the general manager here at the Showboat, has done a sensational job hosting this event. If Jackson looks just a touch tired, Earl, it's because he is. It's been a long but prosperous week.
Put in a lot of hours to make it work.
Bubba Brickley right now needs to make something happen in a hurry. What did Billy used to say? Needs to catch lightning in a bottle, Earl?
That sounds about right.
This has been his good lane. This time the ball doesn't react and just whistles past the head pin.
Well, Bubba is really confused and I guess you would say disconsolate at this point. He thought he made a pretty good shot there. The ball didn't react. He stood there with his hands on his hips like, what am I supposed to do here, folks? His father, you can see, is suffering right along with his son at this point.
Tremendous achievement just to get to this point, but you hope in the title match to have an opportunity to win, and Bubba's thrown some very good shots. Ball just hasn't reacted. Kind of brings up the question, Earl, do you think that maybe he should have changed equipment to get a little different type of reaction?
Well, I certainly feel that Bubba was experimenting with some other bowling balls in the practice pair and probably didn't get the reaction out of those that he wanted. He probably felt this is the ball that got me here, so what I'm going to use. What you have confidence in generally is what you'll end up using. That's what happened with his opponent. Mr. Pirtle went back to the ball that got him here after 2 frames with a ball that wasn't working, obviously.
45 pins down. Once again, missing the head pin. Well, if not anything else, Earl, there comes a time where you got to start moving right to hit the head pin, don't you?
Well, I think what he's doing is experimenting with releases. That was a completely different release. He was way out in front of that ball with his hand and trying to get a different ball reaction. It never did grip the lane again. He's getting a lot of revolutions, but they're not really productive revolutions.
Spare up for Bubba Brickley, but it's more than likely going to be too little too late.
Well, Mr. Brickley is going along at a 172 pace, a maximum of 192 if he were to strike out, which he hasn't been, up to this point, been capable of getting a string of strikes. And this is the man of the hour. He's even got the smile on his face as he sets his feet. He feels pretty comfortable.
Still has a possible 259, which would be a tremendous effort for $200,000.
Come on, boy. Come on, boy.
Running him out, Earl. You know what that means. You've been in that position many a time.
It's a wonderful feeling when you know you've got it won, and now all you're doing is going through the motions and trying to make it really look good. And that's what he's doing right now. He knows he's got $200,000 in his pocket.
Interesting, because when I chatted with John prior to the finals, I said, hey, what kind of experience do you have in the high roller tournaments? He said, Denny, I have none. This is the first one that I've ever bowled. He said, I didn't want to come out here until I was ready to get the job done, and that's exactly what he has accomplished here at the Showboat. A brilliant performance by Pirtle.
And the tears, you can see the tears. Now, there's a lot of excitement. Those are tears of happiness, folks, right there.
Only a sponsor can cry those types of tears, right, Earl?
You're right. I'll tell you what. $200,000 for an unemployed young man from Hawaii. It changes your life. Literally will change his life.
5-pin stands again, and although he's feeling pretty bad at this point, $100,000 will ease the pain, Earl, of finishing second.
So many, yes. Tomorrow morning when he wakes up, he'll say, you know, I had a chance, but hey, I got $100,000. I can do a lot with $100,000. And they can always double it on the crap table right here at the Showboat.
Sure,
right?
That's exactly right. Take it out and give it a ride.
One hand of blackjack, one roll of the dice. The Showboat will be happy to accommodate that.
Sure, just tell them you know Jack Cook and the credit line is unlimited. Isn't that how it works?
Yes.
That's how you do it, I know.
Well, if you lose, Jack covers it for you.
Oh, there you go. Wait a minute. That could wake up Jack. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, well, it's been a wonderful tournament. There's no question about it. Denny, it's been a pleasure working with you again.
Well, I've enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again here. I'll tell you what, there's a different type of excitement, not only with the amateur players, Earl, but with that hefty check on top of $200,000. You really get to see, I think, probably the best and the worst in most players under that kind of heat.
That's a good observation. There's no question that some players respond positively to it, and some players respond negatively. And I don't think that affected Bubba's game so much as the fact that he never really did find anything. He never was comfortable on the lane condition. He struggled all day today. In the 3 previous matches before we went to the televised finals, he had problems. He was fortunate to win some of those.
I'll tell you what's great. The fans really gave him a terrific round of applause. And Pirtle right now absolutely spent, exhausted, and realizing that he's $200,000 richer. Of course, I'll get an opportunity to chat with John in just a couple of moments and get his response to winning the July High Roller here at the Showboat Hotel and Casino. 1,471 players shoot it up at the beginning of the tournament.
Some tears of joy in John Pirtle's eyes. He probably can't even see the pins right now and doesn't care.
That'll do it. Pirtle, the champion. And it's good for $200,000. We'll be back to chat with our newest champion. Pirtle and John, how does winning $200,000 change your life?
Well, it changes it totally. I mean, now I can spend some money in the casino, you know. I've been staying in a hotel room all this time, you know, not being able to go anyplace, having to bowl at 10 o'clock in the morning and things like that. But I think we can spend the money, send my boy to college and things like that.
Oh, that's wonderful. Tremendous amount of pressure to have to win 11 consecutive matches. And boy, you had some tough competition. It's got to be a great feeling.
Oh, these guys were all tough. I mean, I didn't have one easy match, you know. It's not how good you are. It's just if you get the breaks, you pull the right lanes, and if it all comes together and it's in the stars, then it will all work out.
You told me that you wanted to be prepared before you came out to bowl in an event like this. It's your first one. I guess there's nowhere to go now but up.
Well, I've been up and I've been down. That's why sometimes when I win my match, I'd actually feel worse than, you know, if I lost, you know. But it's a great tournament, and I'll be back.
All right, let's bring in Brian Collins, a special friend from Brunswick, and he's got the winner's trophy.
Congratulations, John. Good job.
Thank you.
Very good job.
All right. I'd like to thank Brunswick and Showboat, the management and staff here, Denny. They did a great job. High roller, you guys are all terrific.
One man that's really sensational, can't say enough about General Manager Jack Cook. And boy, he is toting a heavy check in here, John, for $200,000.
John, congratulations. You bowled great. On behalf of the High Roller, Brunswick Corporation, and Showboat, we'd like to present you with this check for $200,000. And your idea of spinning the casino probably isn't too bad.
I guess I can play some Puerto Keno now. Well, I'll be sure to spend the money wisely. Like I said, I have a son, and he likes a lot of toys and wants to go to school, so it'll be spent wisely.
Well, thank you so much for some great bowling. Thank you for joining us here at the Showboat. So long, everyone.